Peace, peace, peace. All right, we are live. Peace, Alpha
Peace.
Root. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. How we doing? How we feeling today? Yeah, man. So, here we are again. And we have someone special here, dear Abba Harut, who's going to be joining on as a co-host, co-facilitator of our Shabbat bills. Will on the man side, and Sister Maria also has a partner in crime as well. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the build. I'm excited for where the conversation is going to take us, where the spirit's going to take us. But you were just telling me your day was kind of hectic.
Yeah. But I was planning for victory.
Okay, good. Yeah, well, as everyone would have seen on you may have seen on the thumbnail, the theme tonight is the Blackprint for victory, and it came about. I had asked Abba Harut about it. It came about when I was like half asleep, and I'd muttered it. I'd muttered it to my consort, and she sort of she remembered it. I was saying the whole thing wrong like the next 2 days. I was calling it Blackprint for success. And I was like, okay, what's the difference between success and victory? But we could get into it, but I see some people who are already in the chat when we came through. So just to greet everyone, peace to Yuya, peace Imanaya, peace top tier speakers, peace Aki Isaiah, peace Ima Yakira Eden, peace after Hava. Okay, loud and clear. Give thanks, Ima Yakira Eden. Yeah, man. But how was your strong, Abu Haru? How you feeling?
Well, one, I feel great because I had a plan. We're going to be here to. It was busy, but rewarding. The best part about it, like I said, as I was thinking about, I listened to Chief on the segment when planning for victory when Chief did a segment, and I appreciated, with Chief when he breaks it down about you have to visualize. So basically, I already had it planned out the week. Then it came down to a couple of days. Then it came down to the day. And so, even though it was kind of roughy, it was like rough, not roughy. That's not a word. But even though it was interesting, bumpy, I'll say it's bumpy. It worked out. It worked out, and that is because regardless of the turbulence or so, it's like it's going to be smooth. It's going to be fine. We're gonna roll. So yeah, it was interesting. It was worse during the week, but it got better. So
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, man. We here. At the end of the strong, finally getting into our time of rest. Chief says, "Of course we were here already. Y'all late." Peace, after G. After Gertrude. How you doing? Peace after Howard. Yeah, man. My strong it was kind of similar. It's kind of, don't even worry about making up words. When you Kira Eden, she cleared the way.
right.
But yeah, my strong was kind of hectic as well. I got stuck in Canada for a strong, like unexpectedly. But it was good nonetheless. We were corresponding all day. You were up early, and I had to get up early to catch my other flight. But I'm back in Nassau now, so I'm resting now. But yeah, man. Appreciate the new energy. The new vibe. Of course, we gotta give big ups to Ima Yakira Eden for leading our Shabbat. Not Shabbat, our midday affirmation. First day, and she touched on the healing of Shabbat. Sister Maria, of course, was helping us out with our meditations. That was a different sort of experience. The ones that I was able to catch, I had to catch a couple of them on the back end. Aki El Karar did his thing last night. He was in rare form. He was speaking about the code of Hammurabi in relation to marriage. He had a lot of good clips, a lot of good sound bites and pearls of wisdom that he dropped on us. Um, whether it was through the words of the elders or through himself, just being Aki El Kara,
Right.
But yeah, man, here we are again. Uh, this whole month we've been dealing with, we're continuing to build on, the ideas of healing and victory, and balance and right culture. But I wanted to ask you how you saw victory, before and after the segment that you listened to, the concept of victory.
What I appreciated when Chief broke it down in the segment, planning victory. All the materials like Our New Way, Solutions for Dysfunctional Families, 14 Keys. What I appreciate about it is that if you follow, like Chief said, if you follow the book is the blueprint. If you just follow it step by step and you inject that into you, you're gonna have victory. And so
Right.
that's the thing that I really appreciate. And then how Chief was breaking it down that you have to visualize again before it happens. Okay. And so when Chief was breaking down the different, he was giving, Chief makes it easy. Like we all say, he makes it very easy. And so, but it's a lot of work. And so for him, like he said, he didn't put these materials together, even the segments, even the podcast, everything he does. If you apply it, example, Chief can put like, okay, you want to be example, you want to be a millionaire. If you apply those techniques of what he gives you, you're gonna be a millionaire. Now, if you're not a millionaire, it's because you're not applying it. And I like it how Chief was really breaking it down. Do you really visualize it? Do you really see yourself a millionaire? I'm just using it as an example. And because if you don't see it, you can't blame Chief. Oh, Chief, you know what? I read the book, your solutions, and I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
I don't see your vision. But you don't see the vision because you don't understand, like he said in the segment, I already planned it. I already had it done before the book was even printed. So everyone has to understand that. And I appreciate these segments and the books because I'm applying them. So I know it works. So Chief's not a liar. He has done his due diligence, and it's simple and it's a simple read. But the hard part about it, people don't want to apply. They just don't want to apply it. Or I call it people today 3-minute microwavable. They just they want something done in 3 minutes, like a microwave. I just put it 3 minutes and it's done. And that's not how it's going to work, because like yours, you may apply something and it may take 10 weeks. I may apply something, the same thing, and it may take 10 years. So the point is, who am I to say, well, how come it's working for you in 10 weeks, but for me in 10 years it didn't work? No, maybe it's because there could be a lot of factors. The point is, you can have victory, okay, if you apply it. And
Right.
so that's what I really appreciate when he was breaking down in the segment about the victory. Again, it's there. Apply it. That's it. As simple as that.
Exactly. I was thinking about this whole. I think from this dawning, I was thinking about the segment and what we were going to talk about, because it's one thing when there's just one energy in the room, but when you have two different energies in the room, um, you never know what could happen.
Right. Right.
You never know what could happen, which I'm excited about, because you and I have our own types of energy, our own energy levels, our own vibration, our own life experiences. Obviously, you had more life experiences than I have, But I was thinking today, especially about that line that Chief said in one of his musical projects. He said, "We have all that we need." I kept thinking about that over and over, and you brought that up just now. Like, we have all that, everything is right there.
Right.
It's already been laid out. All you got to do is follow the steps. And sometimes that can be difficult for people who don't want to move forward,
Right. Right.
because it's so simple. It's like there's nothing to think about, just do it. And it's like, but no, but what about, they come with the what abouts and the buts, and I can't even say they, because I do it too,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole concept of victory is, because I was wondering, like, what is the difference between success and victory?
Mm-hmm.
Victory normally speaks to vanquishing a foe, whereas like you're still achieving a goal with both of them. But success is more like, I'm moving towards this goal in a succession of steps, and I'm going to achieve it. Victory is like, there might be something in my way, and
Right.
it's not going to stop me. And that those are some of the things that you and I were dealing with when we were talking about the topic, and we could explore a bit more moving forward, But yeah, man, all good points. I see something in the chat. Um, yes, please do make sure you share the video. We're doing something new. Always something fresh and new. Yakira Eden says, yeah, all the words, right, real and otherwise, because she would bring up the new words. Peace is the Yafe. Peace on the radio. Um, right, like, share, and subscribe. Chief Yuya says, great points, Abu Harut. We all have our own season for victory. As long as um, we are on our own path, there will be success, because success is just the steps towards the destination of victory. Right. So, yeah, man, and I actually looked into, I don't know, we could get into it later. I was nerding out about like the concept of a blueprint and how they make it, because it's they use chemicals to make the paper kind of sensitive to light. And what they had to do was they would use anything that the light couldn't pass through,
Right.
that would remain white, and the rest of the paper would turn blue. So all they had to do was like put the plan with all of the ink on it,
Mm-hmm.
uh, expose it to light, and all of the paper would turn blue except for what the ink was already on. So that's how they continued making blueprints. And then that took me to Chief's segment on how to be a healer, and he was
Mm-hmm.
talking about the subconscious and how impressionable it is. Like you can make an impression on your subconscious, but you're gonna need the concrete aspects of your plan if you want to be able to visualize and like really impress it upon yourself. And you brought it up, I think it was first day when we had our meeting, and you brought up the concept of like, is it in your heart,
Mm-hmm.
or is your heart in it? I think that
Right.
was the
If your heart isn't in it,
right.
that's what it was.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. But your heart has to be in it too. You can't just like you were saying. Well, I read the book and nothing happened. you know, you don't read the book and then something pops up and it's like, oh, congratulations, you read the book. Here's your $1 million. It doesn't work like that. You have to apply the steps, and you have to apply them as they're prescribed. You can't freestyle. You can't watch. If I tell you to watch the whole series, you can't watch one third of the first video, and you're like, well, nothing happened. I tried it, nothing happened. I'll be watching the videos. I'll be
Mm-hmm.
watching those videos. You be saying it, and nothing be happening. But you gotta apply it. You gotta apply it. Oh,
Exactly.
my you.
I'm sorry. What did you say, Master Menelek?
No, I was just greeting Mayuba in the chat.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just you know being an Anu, what I really appreciate being an Anu. It's been over 2.5 years, and we're talking about is going back to challenges, because victory, there's challenges with being victorious.
Right.
And so what I appreciate, it is one thing being I knew, it ain't a dull moment. It is never a dull moment. When you think, it's like when you think you got there, is another challenge. But again, being victorious is, do you want it? I mean, you gotta want to be victorious. Besides the vision, do you want it?
Right.
People will say they want to be victorious, but when you tell them you got to do some work, I'm like, oh, really? Oh, I didn't
Right.
know. Wait a minute, you cheap guys doing push-ups? Oh, hell no, I can. No, I can't do that. But you're gonna be victorious if you do,
Right.
because, and that's another thing. We're not doing push-ups just to be doing push-ups. I already know Chief. I don't know what he got in his mind, but I already know he already got it planned out. Yeah, y'all doing push-ups, but I'm already beyond why it's not. You're not doing the push-ups because you're doing the push-ups. Okay, just like LinkedIn, that was a challenge. Definitely was a challenge for me. I didn't even know what LinkedIn was, but guess what? Chief already had the vision of why we had to do this, and we had to do it as a collective group. That was the
Right.
thing. So when you, like you said, it's like being on a team. When you're on a team, I already know Chiefs team is like the winning team. It's going to be the winning team. I'm sorry, everybody else out there, I ain't going to give shout outs. I'm going to give shout outs to Chief, our Chief Jegna. But we're on a winning team. So it's like, come on, Broncos. Come on, Chicago, whatever. Come on, Milwaukee. Come on, Florida. Guess what?
You don't know the team in your own city.
I know the teams of the city, but I mean, and like in Chicago, I don't know the teams everybody because I don't watch sports. I ain't got time.
I'm just messing with you. You know that.
Right. I mean, I know this. I know the teams. Hey, I'm in a business. Like I said, I don't have time for all that stuff. That's good.
Mhm.
That's good enjoyment and everything, but I don't have time for all that. So, but the thing is, again, it's like when you're on a team and you're and it's more than just winning. It's like you're winning, but you also feel good. Like all of us, when we go out in the world, and we should, again, when you're victorious, you should be like the sun. You should be shining. You should be like, okay, you should not, definitely, and that's what I was saying, being in our new over 2.5 years, you're not going to be the same person as you were when you started. That's what I'm trying to say. You're not going. If you are, there's something wrong, or you're in the wrong space. And I can tell you in my life, definitely there was some stuff that, like I said, what I read in On Your Way, I'm still amazed. Some of the stuff, I'm like, dang, Chief got this, like the Pacifics. Like, again, we're a bloodline. We're not trying to be like everybody else. So when then that's why when you had the title Blackprint for victory, Black people, we got to get over this, because I was always searching for that. I'm like, why is life so hard? Why is people taking life and they make it so complicated? And it wasn't until being in Anu that it's like, okay, wow, here's the manual. Like, we got a manual how to be a god. Yeah.
Right.
For all you people out there, they're trying to figure it out. Yes, there's one for that. Because guess what? Black people are afraid of being that. But that's a whole nother subject. We ain't gonna get into that. That's gonna be something else. But the point is, that's victorious. Because why? The scripture even says it. We are to be the image and likeness. I look at that as victorious. Because victorious is meaning you are living your path, you're on your purpose, you're successful. It's not saying you're not gonna be stressful, because that's where the challenges come in.
Right.
You're building on that. To be victorious, you got to work. So, example, I like Michael Jordan, okay, because he was a monster. He was a monster, but the point is, he had a vision. Okay. By the way, we know, and Michael, even though he wasn't from Chicago, but he was on the Chicago Bulls, so I know about that part. But what I like about Michael, for all the sports people, is that Michael had a vision. He had a vision of, one, he had to be a team leader. He had to get all his co-workers to work, his co-players to work with him. But he had a vision of winning that NBA title before they even won. And so there's dynamics with that. You had Michael, you had the different players, but you also had a coach. That's where Phil Jackson came in. Okay. Because he was able to go. That's why I look at Chief. Chief helps us. We being our new. So there will not be an excuse why we cannot, any of us in our new, be victorious. Why? Because one, we have the best coach in the whole world. And it's not, I'm not trying to, it not in our new, you might like, well, man, he mentioned Chief a lot. Hell yeah, I'm gonna mention Chief. Because why? I acknowledge what I appreciate about how life is, and I also appreciate how Chief is being a head Jegna, but also I appreciate, but Chief's like, okay, for me to be victorious, I need you. I knew family. Y'all the players. Are you in sync? Victorious being, are you in sync?
Mm-hmm.
Are you following the simple instructions? We were tested with that. Remember that? We were tested with that, with the challenges. So if we're doing it and applying it, and yes, we fall down, but we don't stay there. The point is, you're striving. Being victorious takes time, and you got to be patient. And so, with that action comes the reward.
Mm-hmm.
What is reward? Like I said, just use an example about the millionaire mind, or being a millionaire, or money, or abundance. Is, because it's more than just about money. It's about, and I look at, and what I appreciate about Anu, and is because of the divine attributes that you have to apply. And if you apply them and you live those attributes that we call the Most High, from the Anu Way, from the solutions, from all of the books and the segments, you're going to notice that the universe really gravitates towards, because why? You're in sync. You're in harmony with the Most High. You're in harmony with life. And that's the part that I love about the victory part, because it's actually showing you the results. Because why? You're putting in the work.
Right. That reminds me of that movie 300. You saw that one?
Yes, I saw it a while ago. Yeah.
Right. And you saw the hunchback, and he was trying to he wanted to join the army, and he was like, but that's not how our strategy works. The phalanx, everyone has to be on one accord,
right?
Because you're supporting the person right next to you. So one weak link and everything's going to break apart, And it's funny, we were actually just speaking about this during our last study session, and it came out, I think, sometime last strong too, about just being on one accord and moving in sync, And even with if you continue with the blueprint analogy, what a blueprint's plant, they usually plans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say if you're dealing with construction, you gotta have so many different moving parts with it. But like you were saying, it's not like a one-man sport.
Right.
You don't do this by yourself. You have the people who are next to you supporting you, and you're holding weight too, because you need to support the ones next to you, and it keeps going in this very, very strong and ever strengthening chain. And if you for 1 second allow that victim mentality to take over, then you can't have a victorious mentality and be a victim at the same time. They don't occupy the same space.
Right.
You can't say I'm going to win, and at the same time you're saying I can't win because this person is stronger than me and they're taking advantage of me. It doesn't add up. But as long as you have the plan and you say, okay, this is the plan, this is the process, these are the things I need to master to get to where I need to go. I may not be able to master every single thing, but because I'm aware of who's around me and who's on the team, you have a construction crew, you have a project manager, but you have people dealing with carpentry, you have your masons, you have the metal workers, you have people in the office doing accounting and logistics, you have people overseeing the whole project to make sure it's going according to the blueprint. And everybody has to be in sync. If one person is off, or if one person charges ahead without checking in with everyone else, then the building is going to wind up being lopsided. Or you may charge and charge forward and skip a whole phase of the process. And now you got to tear stuff down and build it back up. It's hard work if you're working with people who aren't um, in sync, aren't tuned in with the vision, and more importantly, they aren't tuned in with the people who they're building alongside of.
Right.
And these are things that we learn in Anu, because when I was just in the chat, before I'd even put in like an application, those were some of the lessons and gems that Chief was dropping on us. Like, everyone was still moving as though they were an individual. And even when someone, maybe they were newer to the chat, they might have asked the question. Chief would keep talking. Like, he sees the question, but he would keep talking for like 10, 15 minutes. And he was like, I wanted to see if anyone would answer their question.
Right.
Y'all kept asking me questions when someone newer to the space had just popped in, and they asked y'all for some support. They had just asked for support. If you know how to support them, then support them. And that's the thing. Peace, Ima Queer, peace, Kill Fitness. But yeah, man, that's the thing. That the teamwork has to be there for sure.
Exactly. I think about what Aki Zach would always say. He was like, "It's got to be in you."
Mm-hmm. Since he was
That's
5
one of
years
his
old.
quotes. Huh?
Since he was 5 years old.
Exactly. Exactly. And you just made me think about, like, coming in on new is like, learn to read music. Okay. It may, these little notes on this paper, but once you learn to read those notes, and then not only read those notes, but now you have to take that instrument and it's got to match where it's coming in. So I think of a symphony. And so we represent different instruments. And then you have the conductor that knows, like you just said, what happened if one note is off? He has an ear to hear, okay, wait a minute. But when you play, and when because again, victory. So now it's like the challenge is like, okay, I got to learn this instrument. So whatever instrument we all have to learn, then when we come together and we play, and it's like, okay, like I can imagine, Chief, like, early on coming in, like, oh, that, whoa, that. But then you start. The more you practice, you get better. You understanding the notes. The notes are not just little ants that are on the page, like you were sharing about earlier about when we were sharing something. But now you were able to comprehend, and then because you're applying it,
right?
And then, but again, the applying takes the work, and and that's just it. Most people again, they don't, you got to apply it and not be afraid, because sometimes I can imagine some of the work we learn to do. Some people could maybe get intimidated, and we say to people outside of our new, we get intimidated, but that we don't stop, because again, there's an ultimate goal here, okay, and we want to be if we're going to be victorious, and again, understanding, but that's where the work comes in.
Right. And oh, I'm sorry, Chief said something in the chat earlier. Imagine if all the things MJ's coach had him do that made him think, when am I ever going to use this? Someone saw him as a sum of parts. Each part has to be conditioned: mind, body, soul, spirit.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. Another thing about the application too, it doesn't just open your eyes to, wow, this thing actually works. It's also wow, okay, this thing works. I can, like, my vision is a little bit clearer, and I can see that it's a little bit farther than I thought it was. And the more your vision clears up, the more you realize, oh, there's a lot more to this. But it's less intimidating, and it's more like you get like, oh wow, I won't be able to do everything I thought I was gonna do by the time I'm gone. Like, this thing is much bigger than I thought it was, and I've got to really step back and be like, okay, if this, what is this victory that I'm trying to achieve? Or that what is this victory that we're trying to achieve? If this is something that can't be achieved in my lifetime, then now you got to step back and realize what Chief would always say is, I'm not some master teacher. I'm just a student who's further ahead on the
Mm-hmm.
path. And he would always show the grace and patience to say, okay, you want to learn how to do this thing? Come on, I'll show you. And he'd slow down and show you.
Mm-hmm.
And I grow to appreciate it a lot when I teach. Maybe I'm in a space and I'm a little bit more experienced than someone else. Like if someone sees me get up, one of my roommates, for example, saw me get up every day to go running, and he was like, "Oh, I want to go running with you one of these days." And one of the days he did come with me, and I wasn't gonna run at my regular pace because I wanted to make sure that he was able to he was encouraged along the way. So I
Mm-hmm.
would run at his pace, and I would just like, "You all right? You good?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, I'm good." Keep running. But by slowing down, I also like I learned, oh, my form wasn't all that good. I'm here
Right.
trying. I'm messing up my feet. So running slower helped me to appreciate a different aspect of the journey or that process. So even application in terms of helping someone else to stand upright, which they've been trying to do, and they reach out, they say, listen, I've been learning this stuff and I like what you're teaching. Can I study with y'all? And it's like, all right, cool. And you have the humility to say, Chief is way further ahead than I am. So I've got to make sure that I emulate that my teacher. Like he would say, when in doubt, copy a teacher. If he's willing to, I don't know how far ahead he is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where he is. You know what I mean? But I know that he's further ahead than me, and he takes the time to slow down. And if he sees me making a mistake, he'd be like, "Listen, your note is a little off. Like you may not have the ears to hear it right now, but tune it a little bit this way. Like trust me, just tune it that way." And your ears begin to develop, and it's like, oh wow, now you know what it is for someone who may um, be a little bit behind you in some aspects and light years ahead of you in others, but they may not realize it because they're intimidated. They
Mm-hmm.
came in with this, everybody knows better than me or everybody knows more than me. Nah, it's like everyone has their own note,
Mm-hmm.
and as long as you can tune in with that note and walk on that path, you become a better version of yourself, as opposed to thinking everybody in this room is competing with one another for some prize. That's how the West works. That's not how we work here. Everybody is collaborating and working together to move towards our envisioned goal, which is much different than what people are used to. So that level of intimidation that people may feel is kind of misplaced. You know,
Right. Right. Yeah. And as I was listening to you, there are times where if a situation arises in me, and it's funny with Chief's voice, I know his voice. It reminds me of Keith. I love Star Wars, so I think of Qui-Gon. And what I like about Qui-Gon, even if he didn't want to join the council or anything, he had a wise way of how he was teaching. And so, I think of Chief in my ears like, okay, Obi-Wan, focus on the moment. Of course he's not calling me Obi-Wan. I'm just saying that as a joke. But I say that because when I remember that first year, it's funny you were saying about the application part. It was asked on there, what do you, I can't remember verbatim because I've got it written down. I should have looked at it before, but it was asking of us, what are you going to bring down new?
mm-hmm.
And, the application, when you fill it out, it's basically like you just said about your talents. So now as you develop, and it's funny because that first year was definitely challenging. Big one, because I'm still surprised I'm a part of Anu. Okay, I studied Chief for years, but being out, like I said, I always say to spectators, being a spectator and being in it is it's totally different.
Exactly.
Okay, totally
Yeah.
totally different. But also, you get the, like I said, the on hand training. So it's like, again, with all the tools that we have, okay, the Anu way. The Anu way is. There are times when I read the Anu way, I read something like maybe a paragraph, and I gotta stop because I'm still doing this with the Anu way. Even though the first time I read the book, and then so when I go and look at it now, I gotta like, dang, that's a lot right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know,
It's so condensed.
exactly.
You read, like the preface says, each statement, each sentence can be taken into and taken out of that context and read on its own, and stand on its own. And it's so, I don't know. It's I, I don't know what to say. I see you laughing because you know what I'm saying. You feel me. It's it's hard to describe the level of potency um, that could be distilled into a single sentence. But it's also there for those who have been along for the ride as
Mm-hmm.
well. If you're just coming to see it for the first time, but depending on your level of attunement to that message, you
Mm-hmm.
may be like, "Oh, this makes sense," or it may be like, let me read that again.
Right.
Which I was like through a lot of the I'm still like that, honestly. Anytime I open the book, it's like, I thought I finished this. It's like, why does it feel like I'm reading this for the first time? But it's like oh boy, where's Brother Zach? He's probably gonna pop up. It's like
Right.
the
Right.
Matrix.
Where is he at when we need
Yeah,
him?
yeah, I just summoned him. It's like the Matrix, where Neo had just he had just been unplugged, right?
Yeah.
And they were
Yeah.
doing all the
Yeah.
acupuncture and everything. And he looks over at Morpheus and he's like, "Why do my eyes hurt?" And he says, "Because you've never used them before." And we're constantly changing. These new cells that are being changed out. What was that show? Letting Go. There's a show on Letting Go that Chief did, and he spoke about scars on your body. And the power of memory, because technically all of the cells in your body replace them.
Right.
Neo. Right. That's the chant. You know, and Beetlejuice shall appear. But he was saying that every 7 years, all the cells in your body are replaced, right? They're renewed. So if that's the case, then technically you shouldn't have any scars on your body anymore. But your body, here he comes. But your body has memory, your brain has memory, so it's gonna constantly recreate those scars, right? But as we're moving, we're not trying to go with those. You can't move with somatic history. You
Right.
can't move based on history in this space. You gotta like let it out, you experience it, understand what was going on, and then move on. Don't bring it back up because now you're trying to attach yourself to it. So your cells have to be new, and even if it tries to recreate those scars on an emotional level, it also has that support on an emotional level that you got as well, and the process that you went through to sort of like let it out. You know what I mean? So all of that is in there, but you can't. It can't happen if you're so you're so scared and constricted in your movement that you don't let anything happen to you. It can't happen that way.
Right. Right. And it's funny because like when we go on our retreats, oh man, those retreats. Wow. It's funny when we sit around that campfire. It's you just mentioned about when you mentioned the Matrix. And Chief, when he knows each one what you play, what role you play in Anu. And
Right,
so
right.
I think of Chief like he knows, like with the when on the way. So example, like I'm just imagining as you were sharing, as you were saying, and we're like, I'm just imagining Chief like, okay, we're around the campfire, and he's like, okay, so Master Man, like, are you the one? No, you would be asking like, well, Chief, am I the one? Well, I don't know. Are you the one? You know, like the Oracle.
Yeah, Oracle,
The
right?
Oracle did not tell Neo he was the one, because why? What I like about how Chief breaks it down, and going back to the segments and the on the way and everything, is like, it's in the book. So if you don't, again, by applying it, if you don't understand what the one is and you want Chief to tell you that you're the one, you miss the whole point of what he put in there. Do you understand that you got to figure it out? Chief already did it already. He figured it out for him. So now we in our new.
Right.
You got to figure out your own destiny.
Yeah, and it
you
also
got to figure it
goes
out.
to
Other than that, because he like, I got mine. Chief's like, I got mine. I'm victorious already. Y'all want to be victorious? You gonna hang with me? Come on.
I'm sorry.
There you go. Zach. I know he gonna come in there. Come in.
Praise Morpheus.
So now we like, dang.
Man.
I gotta think, and I love it how Aki Zach gets in there. So, Abaru, so he'll take over after Chief. So, what do you think? Do you think you are the one? Damn, I gotta think about that for a moment, because so now you spending time. This is what I mean. It goes down that rabbit hole. That rabbit hole keeps going deeper. Like with the Anu way, it goes deeper, and before you know it, it's unending. It's not going to end. Mm-hmm. Even when you think you figured it out, you may figure it out for a moment, but even after that, it's like, no, don't worry about it. There's more. We're talking about victory.
Right.
Break it down.
Right.
And I love it what we're doing. I knew. Okay, break it down in Hebrew. Now I gotta learn Hebrew. Oh man. Don't stop there. Break it down to mathematics. Oh man. Now you gotta break down the mathematics. 85, the 5%, the 10%. You got to see again, it's never ending. Mm-hmm. But it all pertains to the same source, though. Mm-hmm. It all leads us back to the original source. Right. That's the beautiful thing about it. Even if it curves out and goes deep and out, it's gonna always bring back, which is the simplicity of it. And that goes back to what we were saying. It's really simple when you think about it. It's simple. Mm. We just make it more complicated.
Right. Until you try to wrap your brain around it. Then it gets complicated. You know, I can't hold it all up there. Too much. Yeah, man. It's even like, I was just scrolling back up because I wanted to catch up with the chat.
Sure.
Too. But what Sister Yafe said is relevant to what you were saying. You know, when we tell Chief, I read your books, he always asks, can you teach it? You know, if you can't teach it, then you don't know it.
Right.
You know, Chief says, victory applies war. War is brutal. You have to move through the uncomfortable. You can't ignore the uncomfortable, hoping the universe will ignore them also. You have to consider. You have to consider the near and far. Yeah. Actually, there was a quote that I pulled from the Anu Way, from the segment. It's from the Kingdom section.
Okay.
It says, the battle is always with us. Much of our training involves moving beyond the victim temperament. We must serve judgment upon ourselves in order to truly be vessels of the great spirit that we have been endowed with. We do judge, as all people do. However, our verdict is guided by the thought, words, and intentions of the Most High. The first judgment is on ourselves. The first private ruling is a righteous call to evolve. Right? So it's there. It's in the manual. Mm-hmm. You know, it's right there. You know, the battle is always with us, and that's where the victory comes in. You have to have that mindset of, even if I conquer this one thing, because I'm on an upward climb, I know that there's going to be something else that challenges me, and it gives me the opportunity to grow. I'm not victimized by life. You know, I'm basking in and I'm taking advantage of the opportunities that life presents me to make myself better, to evolve. And that's what you learn, when you
Mm-hmm.
come to this space. What life isn't happening to you, you know, life isn't attacking you or bombarding you or there's no why me.
Right.
Like why me doesn't it can't last in this space. It's like you drop a, a germ or a cell into a vat of alcohol. Like it, it can't live, you know. Okay, so Chief also says, true, many notes, Master Menelik. Oh, many notes. Master Menelik can visually illustrate the knowledge in my head far better than I can. Akizak and other brothers are more animated than I and can deliver my information in a far more exciting way. We all have a place. Right, right. Give thanks, Sister Yafe. Yeah, for bringing the recipe book, breaking out the grimoire for how to summon our members. Say Neo 5 times. So you say it, so he appears. Yeah, man. What else we got? Anyways, oh, peace, Akizak, by the way. Sorry I'm late. Akira Eden, I was walking 3 German Shepherds across the street.
Whoa, that's a challenge right there. German
Yeah,
Shepherds.
probably got a black trench coat on and glasses with no ear, with no ear handles. Yeah, man. That's that's an inside joke. You show up to study session late, you gotta say why you're late. And when Akira Eden is the prison warden. So
Oh
she's
wow,
gonna ask
yeah.
you why were you late? Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly what it's at. That refining process is something real.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is because like I said, it's never, and then that's why even for those who, if you're not even in a new and you want to apply it, apply the work, most people, again, and you know what, how are you going to be victorious? And I think about this because without a community, a
Right,
righteous community at that,
right,
you can't be victorious is not by yourself always. It's who is surrounding you,
mm-hmm.
who you're involved with. Could I have done this without without the Anu way and everything? No. Or better yet, it would be extremely hard. Matter of fact, no, hell no. No, I couldn't. No, I'm just gonna say that right there. No, no. Because, you know, even though, like I said, Chief breaks it down.
Mm-hmm.
And wow. And then you, like I said, when you apply the work, um, we're going to be successful in that victory because we are working as a community, as a group. We're not working as individuals. We are individuals learning our instruments, learning our purpose, learning what our role is, but that in a collective body is victorious in itself because now we're it's not just one person. We
Right,
have to work as a unit. We have to work as a community.
right,
And that's a challenge for most people if they have this mindset, I. This is not
right.
about I. It's not about you. It's
Yeah,
not about me. It's
that
about
ego,
us.
that
What?
ego is another thing that has to be conquered as well. That you gotta conquer. Uh, Chief did another segment, what is it? Checking weak males.
Yeah, I remember that segment.
Yeah, and he talks about, you can't really be checking someone outside of you, and you haven't checked that internal weak male, and I think we look at victory and doing all of these things as I'm conquering everything that's outside of me.
Hmm.
But how can you conquer what's outside of you if you don't always have control of all your limbs?
Right.
You
Right.
know, like you strong, and then I don't know, you put something in front of someone, and they go weak in the knees. It's like, oh, ice cream. I love ice cream. You know, yeah, or let a woman in a sundress walk by. So, you know, it's, everybody has that thing that they need to conquer within.
Right.
And being able to regulate yourself and decide how you're going to move. Refining, even if you want to use the analogy of war, how well do you swing your sword? How often do you swing your sword? You know, you got a dull sword, you sharpen it, or you just walking around hoping you ain't got to cut nobody, or hoping nobody tries to cut you. You know,
Right.
you gotta always stay sharp and ready. That's the victor's mentality because they know that at any moment you may have to fight, and I'm not losing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I won't put myself in a position to lose, and that it starts up here. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you have to have a victor's mentality. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't have that, then even if you win um, by some chance of luck or happenstance, you'll always walk around with an imposter syndrome because it's like, well, maybe it was a fluke. You know, if someone else challenged, like, that was a big dude I just beat, but if someone else challenges me, I might lose. What if someone smaller than him beats me? Then everybody's going to be like, oh, maybe it was a fluke. You know, like the imposter syndrome starts to kick in.
Right.
So you gotta have that in your mind, like, nah, I won because I'm better, and I made sure that I'm better.
Exactly. But like you just said, like, and Chief mentioned also in the chat, is that we're at war.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when he was using again in that segment, in the segment about I forgot the name of the character the Chief brought up, but he was like, he was outnumbered. And
Oh,
what I like how Chief was breaking it down was he invited him for breakfast. He's like, I tell you what, after I win,
mm-hmm. You
after
love
I
breakfast.
win, I'm gonna invite you to breakfast. So they blew it off like, okay, yeah. But they missed. He already had it planned out. Okay, just like right now, we know we're dealing. The world's falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're gonna fall hard, but we ain't gonna fall because why? We've been prepared. Cheap, I still got food build up. Chief told us over 2 years ago, y'all better stack on you. I still got my dining room is turned into a storage room right now. I had to make it into a storage room because it's all the stuff. But that was preparation. Now, the world right now, the world is falling apart. So now we have to ask everybody. Well, everybody outside I knew, sorry, some of y'all gonna be lining up. You like getting ready to put those masks back on because they talking about that now. I ain't
Right,
put no damn mask on. But my point is,
right.
regardless of what they do and what happens outside the world, we already have the vision. Chief already planned it out, and we're rolling with him. And we're gonna be victorious, regardless of what's gonna happen to the world. It doesn't matter because why? We're at war, and
Right.
you're gonna have to succeed at winning. And so to succeed at winning, it's planning. War is about planning. It's a battle plan. And everything, like you said, the blueprint. There's a blueprint. Chief got that too. Here's a blueprint. Now, what? Okay, Abu Harut, you paying attention? I ain't gonna say this too many times.
Right.
This is the battle plan. So now, the battle plan. This is the battle plan. Are you on the same page?
Right.
Okay. And so now, if we follow this battle plan, if we follow this, you're guaranteed. Going back to what we said earlier, you're guaranteed victory. Victory. You're guaranteed. It's not this plan is not, it's not like it's not going to work.
Right.
And we're talking about our people because everybody else makes it. Black people are the only ones sit back waiting for everybody else to win and like, oh, well, what you know, they want to come after the battle. No, we're done now. When that time comes, oh no, you ain't gonna be able to. No.
Yeah, it's like waiting for a participation trophy.
Exactly.
You know, well, he was there. He was there. Yeah, Ray was there. I remember Ray.
I got Chief Button. That's gonna give me a pass. Chief Button's on a. I picked this up back in 2018 when he was in Toronto doing a lecture. I got a button. Can I get in now?
Right.
Nah, that's not gonna help.
And that brings up the other aspect of war. You're fighting against something. You know, I brought up the internal struggle earlier, but there has been war has been raised on us for I don't know how long,
Right.
forever. You know, you have and you still have people fighting those internalized battles, whether it's I hate my job, I'm always coming home to pay rent, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I can't see my children, and all of that is because they followed a plan that wasn't set up for them to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
They were raised on, well, if you do this, you do this, you do this. Most of us were raised on that.
Right.
If you
Right.
follow these steps, you go to school, get good grades, go to college, graduate, get a good job, retire, have 2.5 kids and a dog and a white picket fence.
Right.
That was the blueprint
Right.
that everyone was saying this is going to work for you, right? But someone flipped the script and didn't tell nobody, you know, on one side, but on the other side, on our side, it was never meant for us to succeed. Now we have all these other groups who are feeling what we've been feeling, and they're weaponizing some of the talking points that were made by those who came before us, and they're saying, well, they were victims and they made these statements. They were oppressed. They were underdogs. So I feel oppressed too. Let me use the same victim mindset that they were trying to get out of, and I'm going to perpetuate it. I'm going to say anyone who has more power than me is evil, and because I have less power and I'm the victim, I'm good. No one's going to scorn an underdog,
Exactly.
and that's
Exactly.
another fight because it's coming full circle. But some of that again is in yourselves, so you got to fight harder to fend that off.
Yep. 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 And that's why, like you just said earlier, the first battle is within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first battle. I can't fight a battle outside of me if I haven't mastered the battle in me first. Do I reflect and also what am I reflecting?
Mm-hmm.
Am I reflecting the Most High? Am I those attributes, which is in our new way? If we are the people from heaven, and what does that look like?
Mm-hmm.
What does it look like being victorious? Do we have evidence in history, which we do, of those of us that were victorious and won against the odds? And so that's why all of this pertains to what's in you. And how are you, if it's in you, how is it protruding out of you to get the end result?
Right.
Okay. If we're not willing to do that work and strive for that, and even better that, I love it how we have to always work on bringing that light. That light comes in us, meaning the that light from Yah that comes in and radiates within us. Obviously, once we receive that divine light, you're gonna sooner or later that's going to definitely penetrate you, and it's going to bring out a part of you and that's where the courage comes in, because now Yah shines through me, and so I'm able to that victorious part is I'm being an instrument. Okay, that's the part I was trying to get out. I'm being an instrument, and so I get the ego out the way, and I just be that instrument, and that's what I appreciate about Chief. Is that, and that's why Akisak always say, "Damn, Chief, you make it easy," but it's not always easy because when you're dealing with Black folks, that's what I was saying about earlier this week. But the reason I'm able to deal with it because I was able to deal with my own inner problems. I had to learn to control my own emotions,
right,
and not let it overcome me. And so that was one of the challenges I had to focus on. And as I focus on that, again, that pertains to the victory. Black print for victory.
Right. And it's that Blackprint because it's not like we can look at the Anu way, but if you burn all the copies and delete all the files, it's still up here.
Mm-hmm.
It's still in that subconscious. You have it imprinted on you, and if you need to make a pivot, um, you can make a pivot, and it's still going to be in alignment with
Right.
your victory because you know your principles, you know your mores, you know your culture, you know that what you decide to do, everybody is already on one accord.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody already knows what we do and what we don't do. It's like, yeah, let's do that. And it's like nothing. You make a sharp turn. There was a book that I was reading, and it's sort of based on Chinese history. It's like it's a manga. It's a Japanese comic book.
Okay.
But there was a war between the Qin and the Zhao, and the Qin were kind of on the back foot because they marched into Zhao territory, right, which was kind of far from headquarters, and they had to basically win this war before their food ran out. Because if they sent more food, their supply lines would get attacked. Because you sending food into enemy territory, they'll just come and take the food and kill everybody. So you got to work with what you got. So they already had this elaborate plan, and they got their food stores there. They faked them out, and they got their food there. But the commander of the army, he was like, "This still ain't enough," you know. And they had to try and conquer this very large stronghold that they had. So he was like, "I got to see this thing with my own eyes." So he went there and he looked at it, and there were still patrols around. So he took only a few of his men, some of his elite guard, and he looked at it and he's like, "We can't do this with our current plan, and I can't send back to headquarters to say we need a new plan, but I understand the parameters for victory. I know what we need to do. We need to take this fortress, you know." So what he did was he stooped down in the sand and started drawing up plans in the sand on the spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Based on his knowledge of the area, because it's up here.
Right.
Not on a piece of paper. He didn't have to bring a bunch of scrolls with him. Everything's up here.
Right.
So they get discovered. And before anyone could attack him, he doesn't even look up from drawing in the sand. He could, because he knows his elite guard are with him, and they take out all the attackers, no problem. They never get to raise the alarm. So he goes back to the army and he says, "We got a new plan." And he doesn't tell them the plan. He was like, y'all follow me." So they go to one of the civilian populated areas, and they basically take it over. But he was like, "Don't harm the civilians." And it was like, okay, this isn't like, he's not a nice guy. So
Right.
he didn't say don't harm the civilians because we don't get down like that. We don't hurt civilians. That wasn't the reason why he said it.
Right.
He said, "Don't harm the civilians," and he made a speech to the people who occupied the city. He was like, "We're taking over the city. Everybody leave. We're not gonna harm you. No one's gonna harm you. Everybody gotta leave."
Right.
There were several cities on the way to that fortress, and he did that to every single one of those cities, right? And what happened is he had his army surround them to funnel them into this fortress, which means they had to open it to let the refugees in. So now he stressed out all of their food storage because of all of these new people. They eventually ran out of food. And to make sure that he snuck in some of his own people disguised as peasants, and they burned down the food storage. So now they had to leave the fortress to go get more food. They couldn't hold it. You know what I mean? But it was up here. We need to take this fortress. The original way that was set for it, we couldn't do it, and we can't go back to headquarters, but everything is up here.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So that right there shows me that as long as you're on one accord and you understand the mission that you're on and you understand the way that you move, you can beat the odds. you know, no matter what's up against you, because you know that victory is like either we win or we die. That was the kind of mission that they were on. Similar to the story that you brought up from Planet Victory, the segment from Chief from the Art of War. He burnt all of their supplies, and he burned all of the boats, and he put their backs to the river. So now any little bit of, like Chief was saying, any little bit of doubt that was among the ranks, like that was gone. Like now I gotta fight.
Right.
Yeah, well, I want to get to the chat. I think
Okay.
we're way behind because it's 9:22, and the one I'm looking at was from 9 o'clock. Yakira Eden says we're always being charged with leveling up, climbing that chain, evolving. So true, Abba. Yeah, it's simple. Grow.
Grow. I like how Chief grow.
Grow. The chat. The tech. Grow. Akizak says ignoring the uncomfortable. I swear it's so easy to say that one is to get comfortable with being uncomfortable until it gets gangster. Right. You gotta be comfortable with being uncomfortable until it gets gangster. Chief says Hebrew is white belt. We have the mathematics, then there's the Akkadian. What happens when you have to combine the associate hand movements, the Bene Gesserit? Establish a love affair with learning.
Wow.
Yeah, you got to. You look at it as a chore, you ain't gonna make it.
Right.
Right now. Because there's always more learning than you expect it to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. Gee, Zach, where'd it go?
It's easy to stay and remain a victim.
Right. It's easy to stay. My chat thing moved to the bottom. There we go. It's easy to stay and remain a victim. Some find power in that. Instead of planning a victory, one plans on manipulating others. And it's so annoying.
Yeah.
It's super annoying. It's super annoying. Just following orders. I'm not sure what we were talking about at that time.
Well, you know, and as you were saying, it goes back to when he had to take that fort. He had to trust. I mean, you got to build that trust. That goes with all of us here. We had to build doing this work. Do you trust Chief and what he's doing? Do you trust the process? That's part of this victory. Most people don't trust that. Chief will make it so easy that you could, and that's why most people outside of I knew was like, and even for them to you know, gravitate to it, just for them to understand, and a lot of them just going back to the sabotage and the manipulation. It's easier for most people to manipulate or to play the victim than to just trust the process.
Right. They'll manipulate themselves right out the door.
Exactly. And that is annoying to me too. I witnessed that this week. I keep hearing Chief in my ear, you know, you're a new man now. So I'm like, oh, Chief, man, I wanted to say something earlier, but I hear Obi-Wan in my ear, Chief, you're a new man. You're a new man. And I'm like, you know what? And I did good. But see, again, that goes back to victory is a constant thing. We don't take a break from it. It's not like, oh, okay, y'all got, okay, you got 5 minutes, or you got, no, it's an everyday, it's a movement. It's constant. There is no break. You either in or you're out. Simple.
Yeah.
Going back to what like Chief was saying about, you know, about war. War is, yeah, you can take a little 5-minute break. We gotta go back to back. Chief was writing in the I see what Chief was writing in the chat.
Yeah, you go ahead. If you want.
Chief states, true Akizak, war is a it's so small. War is a vital matter of life and death. Okay. I'm not saying right.
Sun Tzu.
Sun Tzu. I thought so. War is full of betrayal and dirty. dirty work. I'm sorry. It's not unblocked thought to action, not unblocked thought to action. All sorts of undermining to coax you back to comfort. Exactly, Chief. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Ask you all kind of dumb questions.
Exactly.
How you gonna deal with more than one woman? Well,
Oh,
why
wow.
y'all do it like that? Well, why you don't eat this? You know, like one of the examples the chief brought up, like, well, children got to eat pizza. You know, you got to let them have fun. It's like, really? Why would I feed them something I know is going to make them sick because you think that's fun?
But it goes back to, again, I think about, like Chief was saying, we're at war. So if you're the 85 percenters and you don't understand victory, guess what's going to happen? They're going to utilize you. You don't want to plan victory, guess what? They're going to utilize you. You're going to be the pawns. You're going to be the ones that's going to be left out. Simple as that. Because why? You can't think that high. You want to be the victim. You want to play the victim. And you can't win that way. You just can't. And that's why most of the population in the world right now, going back to the problems that they have, the problems are there is because you don't want a solution. You don't want to be victorious. But then they quote a Bible scripture, or they'll quote Christ, or they'll quote they'll quote something outside of themselves instead of them internally, like, you know what? Maybe I should look something different. Maybe I should tackle this. Maybe you have a point, Chief. Maybe you have a point. But then, or that's it. It's not like, okay, let me work on this. Let me see what I can do to change.
You usually get you have a point, but once that butt gets in there, that's the end of it. They start inching around to try and make it
to get around it,
try to make a
right.
U-turn on the highway.
Right.
Let me just turn back. Softer Harbor says, Anu reminds me of being on the Starship Enterprise to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilization, to go where no man, mind has gone before. Yeah.
That is true.
To boldly go.
To boldly go where no man has gone before. You're right, Softa. You are absolutely right. That we have went through Oh yeah. Still out there. Sometimes I feel like we're lost in space sometimes. Like, oh, well, but we're going to get back. The point is, not lost in space meaning we're lost. No. Meaning that you're boldly going to different moments and you're tackling them. So it's like where most people will give up, and where the challenge is like, nope, that's a new challenge, but that's something we can conquer. We can, and what is the lesson from that? What I also like about when you chose the topic, Blackprint for victory, what happens when you win? Then you're like, dang, did I do that? Like the challenges, I'm pretty sure for some of us that had to do the challenge of the push-ups. Some probably said, okay, I can only do 1 or 2. But then when you want to do 20, you're like, wow. But you know why you did 20? Because you saw your brother or sister who said the same thing. They might have couldn't do 10, but they did 15. Or so that pushes you more. Because now it's like momentum. Okay.
Right.
That momentum's going. Now you can't. It's like that boulder going down a hill. Once you're victorious, it's a momentum. It's going. You're not gonna stop it. And so that's where the excitement comes in. And so that should do nothing but excite you. And that's why I get excited, because I get excited when I see with others too, and that really, really excites me. It's like, see, told you. But again, going back to what she was saying, he already had the vision. He already knew. He knew you could do it. You just kept doubting yourself.
I like seeing, I love seeing people go from I can't to I did it. Yeah, I love seeing that. That's
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't have to do nothing. You just had to get out of your own way, And once you realize that was your only obstacle this whole time, it like everything becomes easier because now you'd be like, oh, I'm getting in my own way again.
Mm-hmm.
This is a different level, but it's the same problem. I'm just getting in my own way again. You know, like Brother Zach said, the ego will jump in and say that one is self-taught and not want to practice humility, and understand your limitation. I find it a great honor to be a student. Being a student,
Yeah.
a student says, um, I'm not sure if I can do it, and the teacher just facilitates. They're not
Mm-hmm.
standing up there just grandstanding. They're giving you the tools to empower you to do it, you know, and that sets Chief apart from a lot of other people who may call themselves teachers, but they really just like to talk.
Right. Like like being a student, it's funny you like Akizak said that. I love being a student too. Are you willing to be emptied?
Mm-hmm.
I think again, to be filled up with more, are you willing to empty? That's one thing I realized coming out new and learning this journey. You have to be able to let go and empty the falsehood, because that's what we all had to do anyway. When we came in out new, you had to let go of the stuff in the world. All that stuff we learned about, all the stuff that they did, like the food we used to eat. I'll never forget Akizak about when I learned when he did the Deuteronomy and Leviticus.
Right, the classy thought.
And like again, are you willing to let it go? Are you willing to let that go? Are you willing to let go? I love shrimp. I love shrimp. Still do. Can't eat it. Not healthy.
Right.
Okay. I watch people, they'll say they love something, and that what they love is also an ailment to their body. Like one of the ladies, the elder lady today, I was working with her this all week, and she was mentioning she was diabetic.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know that she was eating pork. But I didn't say nothing because they get sensitive. But I know why she's a diabetic. The point is, if you just let go of certain things, going back to, if you just let it go, maybe your diabetes would curb, which I know it would. I know it would, because I've seen it done, and I've done it with people. And this is how Chief is. He's like a doctor. He's like, I know what y'all problem is. Besides you being crazy and you messed up. And it's funny. I remember when Chief did a truth session with all of us some years ago, not the other one, but he was like, yeah, y'all messed up. Came up, messed up parents. So yeah, you screwed up. It was like, damn. I'm like, damn, do I have any hope? But that's the thing. It was like, damn, I'm raggedy. Wow. Damn, Chief, you had to rub it in. I'm like, no, not that he had to rub it in. He's like, no, I'm taking you. Yes, we're raggedy, but can you see yourself beyond that?
Right, beyond your feelings.
Again, going back to Victorious, can you see from that raggedy state you were in, can you go beyond that? Most people won't do that. Most people are comfortable. That's where the 85%ers come in. They are comfortable being raggedy and will blame you if you try to change them for being there, because they want to be raggedy. That's fine. Stay out there. But when we in our new, it's like, what are you going to do with that? Because you can't stay here.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because we're victorious. And if you're going to be victorious, you're in the way and you're not going to last. And matter of fact, you're going to be trampled over because we're on a momentum. Going back to the momentum. We're on a momentum. We ain't stopping. Regardless. You're either going to catch up, keep up, or you're out.
Right.
And that's the thing. That's that truth talk. Because sometimes to be victorious when you're dealing with something like this, and that's why I appreciate not just Chief, but all of us. We again, we have a challenge coming up with the men. I know that's going to be coming about tomorrow and Sabbat. Is about, okay, you failed? Okay, $100 or 10, 20 push-ups. Damn, I struggle with it. You have a choice. Which one? But again, what are you going to do? We're not slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
We don't care about, this ain't no victimhood. This is real boot camp.
Right.
Can you hang with us? Can you do this? And that's the point. Because if you're going to be victorious, you have to be able to let go, trust the process that we're in, and to move forward without, yeah, you're going to fall down. So what? Get up. So what? That first day, we probably, 5 push-ups, maybe 3. But again, after we, hell, I get up every morning now. I do my damn push-up. I'm like, see, because it's already ingrained. I'm like, I got to do my
can't
push-up
not do
before
it.
I leave. Drop down, get it.
Right.
Still on my challenge. Because no, why? Because the challenge for me was because my schedule. So I'm like, no, my new brothers and sisters, they may be done. I ain't done. Because why? I have to continue. I didn't start when I should have started. But I'm not going to stop. Because why? We're a unit. We're a community. No. I'm like, oh, y'all did it. Or I ain't gonna lie. Oh yeah, I did it. So then we come to the retreat. She's going like, okay, you really did? Are you sure you did the push-ups, the squats? Because guess what? The results are gonna show. It's gonna show sooner or later. The point is, you can't cheat your way out of this. No excuses. Either you did it or you did either you did do it or you didn't. It's simple.
Right. And the results will speak for themselves. But as Zach says, betrayals, ain't that the truth? Speaking about Chief's comment earlier, like in the movie 300, when they told the little guy,
little guy,
yeah, I hope you live forever. Shallow and trivial pursuits. It's hard to win or even take a stance in a war that a lot of folks don't even know that they're in. What's the saying? The greatest trick the devil ever played was making folks think he didn't exist. Yeah, man. Right. It's after hour. Going boldly is the key. This is why Star Trek. In Star Trek, there's no money, only exploration and actualizing. We are natural born explorers. The first thing babies do is taste and crawl. Yeah, I almost swallowed my brother's whole nose. He never let me forget that. It's like, you tried to eat my nose. Yeah, that's for you, Albert.
Oh yeah. See, I can say, you know what? That's been ringing in my ear. You've been in my ear all the time. So, Albert, what's COVID? I got you. No, I ain't gonna go and do it right here. We talking about victory. Trust me, you're in my ear too. But you know what? That's what I love about that brother. Because that retreat, man. I know that's gonna be something in the spring. Oh my God. But guess what? You know what that means? You know what I appreciate you about Aki Zach, going back to we as a community? And Chief did it too. But Chief didn't have to. See, we all have our own. Again, going back to we all different instruments. So you know what I appreciate about when Aki Zach did that at the retreat? It made me. I'm like, yeah, I internally, but it's like it broke. Chief and Aki Zach broke it down. It's like, and that's the thing I humbly have to say. It's like, damn, I can't even say. And this is going back to, you have to humble yourself. It's like, dang, I messed that up. And I can still say that. I'm
right.
And it's like, but you know what? But with that comes, it's like, okay. And I remember, again, going by Chief. Now I got Chief and Aki Zach in my ear. Master Miller, like, you in there too sometimes. You in there because you got that master genius mind, But what Aki Zach said, it's like, guess what? I'm going to be ready, but next time I'll be ready when he asks that question. Because why? Because I know what I failed at. Mm-hmm. I realized from him, because again, this is how I feel like Softer Ahaba just said, we're on this ship. We're not just cruising the galaxy and just going from planet to planet. No, we're working. And going back to what Aki Zach was doing when we wanted to retreat, we were probing those questions. We were asking each one another. And that helped me remind myself about, but also it helps me sharpen my way of preparation. Because what he was sharing is that I realized I wasn't prepared.
Mm-hmm.
But what helps me, again, if I want to be victorious, when he did that, he wasn't doing that to humiliate. He was doing that to like, brother, you got to do better.
Right.
You got,
And he knows
you're a
you
doctor. You're a doctor. You mean to tell me you can't, and I was explaining the way, but it wasn't like, no. I get it. But I appreciate him because he made me think about when I deal with clients. But also, Akizak put it in my back of my head. It's like, you know what? You can't assume. Even though I'm standing by what I said, Akizak, about what I felt. I ain't gonna go. You had to be there, Master Miller. You had to be there.
I wasn't there,
humbly,
so I got no dog in this race.
I know, but humbly, I have to say I was incorrect because I was not coming from a factual perspective. Because I was taking what we were having that conversation. I was taking that and I was injecting my theory. I'm just use that, a theory of what he was going through, but at the same time, it's like, that's not enough. And that's what I appreciate when he mentioned the comics. So it's like, comment. So that's why I was like, you know what, Akizak, I really appreciate that moment. I really do. And I look forward to us in the spring because it's like, it's going to get hot. And I ain't talking about just the temperature hot. It's going to be hot, meaning we are probing one another to be better Anu men and women. We're probing one another because now Chief can step back. It's like, okay, y'all got the Anu way. Okay. Y'all got 14 keys. Okay. Let me see what y'all working with. And it's like, but when we do it, and every one of us comes at a moment, and I gotta say it, I gotta give shouts out to Aki Hamza while we're on this subject about victory. I really humble myself when I share this about him because when he brought the young lady, and she was so, I appreciate because, and reason I'm saying that is because Aki Hamza, he comes that fiery part, but then he humbled himself and brought his young lady to the community, and she just came there and she just blended right in, and that's what I'm talking about. We work as our victorious part of us is not as individuals, but as a community. And I wanted to share that, and I'm going to share. I can say it, shout outs to him, but at the same time, I honor the fact that we all come together and we become victorious in our unique way of activating the segments, the solutions. We still got work to do. We're still building. We're still conquering. We're still striving. We're still climbing. We're still building. But at the same time, that's the part that excites me because we got the tools, and she's now watching us as the players on the field. Yes, Akizak, I think about you because you're the sports person. We ain't spectators. We are on the field. Everyone is out there in the bleachers, but we're on the field, and now it's like, okay, we can do this. Each and every one of us, for like, we have our own segments and up the Shimas and the community build and midday affirmations. All of these come together. Men, women in harmony, going back to victory, because we're winning as a team, but also men and women. We're not fighting in Anu.
Yeah, and while we're doing it, we're growing as well.
We're growing and having fun.
Every time it's like Chief want me to do what? You know, Chief say
Right.
do what?
Oh, you know what? I thought that was a question you put in the chat when you said
No.
that.
It's like you get the message. It's like, okay, this is what you're gonna do. It's like, can I do that? And it's not just like a lack of confidence. It's like I never even considered that I would be doing something like that. Or I never considered like it's like Dr. Harvard said, you gotta go where you've never been before. But it's the boldly part.
Yeah.
You know, like Chief had mentioned, going boldly is the key. You know, it doesn't matter that you haven't been there before. You know, the thing is, you've got like enlightenment and transformation. You know, you got to take your light boldly into the darkness. You know, as men, you got to do it so we can transform. You know, that's that expansive aspect to it. You know, and that's how you sharpen yourself. That's how you make yourself stronger, because you have to. None of your enemies are gonna just say, "Okay, I'm gonna punch you in the stomach now."
Right.
Okay, so block his stomach. You know, you block him. It's like, "Oh, I got you." Nah, he's gonna try and make you throw up.
Right.
You know, I want you to pass out, wheezing on the floor. I hope I got your liver. Did I get your liver? You know, it's not like anyone is gonna give you a telegraph punch. You know, you may get one or two, but it's not gonna be every time. So you gotta be willing to adapt sharply. You know, you have to have the mindset of, I'm not just here doing this on a schedule every day for years. You know, you don't get the luxury of just doing something over and over and over and getting comfortable doing that. It's like, all right, cool. You've been doing 20 push-ups for like 2 months now. It's time to ante up. You know, what happened on 30? You should be doing 50 right now. You should be on hundreds. You know, why are you still at 20?
Right.
You know, and then you get pushed to do 100. You may bang on 50, but it's like, see, I know you can do more than 20. You know, now you know what your level is. You know, now you know what your new level is. And that's that constant level up that Yuya Eden was talking about earlier. We're constantly being pushed and challenged to level up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Sister Yafe says, let me try and catch up. Oh, we way behind. we try to catch up with the chat.
Okay.
Sister Yafe says, so true about the weapons. Warriors make sure that they have the right equipment to ensure victory. Samurai ain't going into battle with no dull katana, right? Chief Yuya says, true, Brother Zach. And the devil was in the womb with Yakub. Yakub took his birthright and made him. We make our devils through the ambitious strategies we devise. Yeah, man. Cal Fitness says, it's true. You got to sharpen your steel before you polish it.
Exactly.
Protocol. Yeah, that's right. Right, Cal. My library has never been pretty. Like Chief stated, everything we do, we got to do it from a warrior perspective. Exactly. Exactly. Akizak says, and if it doesn't exist, then they will make sure to build one. Paraphrasing. You better speak on that, Kill Fitness. One becomes relaxed and loses everything they have behind the behest of a smile. Right. Yuya Eden says, yes, Avro, that instrument or vessel has to be perpetually refined in order to remain on purpose or be useful. Akizak says, two key pieces in life, flexibility and mobility, which will allow one to make that pivot too. Exactly. Chief Yuya says, the Anu way is a way of living, a culture. When you apply the method, it becomes your nature. Something it is already their nature. They are foolish and prideful. Read it, apply it, and it attaches. Exactly. Isaac says, what's the book that talks about burning boats so that one didn't have any other option but to fight? Oh, that was Sun Tzu, The Art of War. You can check out that book too.
Yeah, it's a pretty good book. I read it some years ago, but it's yeah.
Yeah. Akizak says, walking by faith, not by sight. Your eyes can get you beat. It's not about the size of the dog in the fight, but rather the size of the fight in the dog. I spit bars. Chief Yuya says, it was more of a tactic than a literary work. Tariq bin Ziyad, I think I'm saying that right. Tariq bin Ziyad did it as did Julius Caesar. Right, give thanks. Trust is a foreign language for many, especially when one is at war with their family, which makes it hard for them to trust others because of a lack of home base, in my summation. I've seen that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that a lot. A top tier speaker says makes me think about Babylon being a mindset, and how some prefer that as opposed to being set apart. It's a choice. Mm-hmm. Sister Yafe says putting in the work to get both feet in is a victory as well, since straddling the line can get comfy. Right. I don't know how. Honestly, I don't know how it could get comfy. Um, but I learned how to swim because father threw us off the bridge and say, "All right, swim to me, swim to me." You know what I mean? So you either jump in or you don't. But I would always feel like a punk if I wanted to, like when I was trying to learn how to dive, and I was just sitting on the edge for hours, like trying to. My brother's just like, just put your hands in front of you, lean forward, extend your legs, you're good. You know, it took me so long to get off. I finally did it, did a belly flop, and then I was like, I could do better than that. You know, and that just set it in motion. But it was that first belly flop,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just do or die. You
Right.
know, but you, like Chief was saying, my library ain't never been pretty. You trying to make it look pretty. It's your first attempt. When you trying to help people, be like, oh, he's a natural. You know, it's never, it's rarely gonna be that, if ever. So stop looking for it. You know what I mean? Just do it. Do it scared. Do it ugly. It's gonna get better over time as long as you keep refining it. Um, Brother Zach says, so true, Safta Ahavo, to go where no man is gone is easier for one to do when they have a measuring stick and a culture to judge things with. Um, split that V and dot that I, curl that C, Tory. Oh man. Speak on it, our creating new habits is about momentum, like going to the gym. There will be times when you don't want to go, but after a month or so, you feel funny if you don't. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. TBS says, consider how many struggle with sending their love letters, but push through squats and push ups. It gave an opportunity to honestly assess where their strength is at. Guilty as charged. Taught me too. Yep. Yeah.
See,
uh,
I can honestly say I did send one, but that ain't enough. I ain't done.
yeah. I still got some more to write too.
Yeah.
I wrote more than I thought I would. Um, because I don't usually reach out to people. But everyone I wrote, it like did something. You know what I mean? Willfully, it did something for the people I wrote it to as well. But just the process of writing it, you know, it
Right.
loosened me up. So I definitely do have to do more. But as Zach says, we have a family doctor because it's better for one to know the history of the group until we speak on mental health. Then we want to keep secrets. Can we go beyond that? Mm-hmm.
Right.
TQS says, "Don't love what refuses to love you. Love, love what shrimp do. They are the filters of the sea. That is an honorable purpose. We shouldn't abuse or misuse those filters with butter and cocktail sauce." uh, but Zach said, and it seems that the stronger that one begins to reject one, the more they begin to have stronger cravings for it, like they're missing out on something. Only so long the fake players can pretend real Anu will stand up. Um, hmm, why do y'all, and these were like minutes apart, why do y'all think that victory seems to invade so many because of the thoughts of money or what some perceive as the lack thereof? It's a great blessing to it's a great blessing that we all have to be able to challenge our theories. As Chief always says, growth. Okay, I think that was when you were speaking about, the COVID,
Right.
the COVID experience.
Right.
Yeah, let me not say that too much. But that's a good question. Why do y'all think that victory seems to evade so many? Because of the thoughts of money or what some perceive as a lack thereof?
They probably, it's definitely the lack thereof. I feel. People don't look at it. They look at money. Everybody wants more of it.
Mm.
But then it's like money is a mental thing. Going back to what we were saying about when I see, it's like, what do you envision? Can you Can you handle? I use example. Can you handle being a millionaire? Let's look at that.
Mm.
What is the millionaire mind then? It's definitely not a person that's broke or poor. Like, people will talk about Bill Gates, they'll talk about Elon Musk, they'll talk about all these so-called millionaires, billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is, to me, it's not about the money though. For me, and this is what again, going back to the Anu way and 14 keys and solutions is, because I what I did when I came in Anu, and what I really appreciate, and this is what I'm growing, like Chief's like grow, and that is, how can you break a habit, or how can you succeed? And we use money, like the example about money. People focus on the physical part first, but they don't understand that money is energy. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's like I always learned from those who taught me, is that don't focus like the job. We're doing it the hard way. Like to some people, money, like the reason hard, because they go out and like play the lottery. You're not going to win it because you play the lottery. Okay.
Right. And even if you do win, you don't have the mindset to manage the money.
Exactly. But going back to, like you said, the mindset, that's a mindset. What do you do when, and I can say this experience, like I known people who had money, lots of it. Within 6 months, and I'm talking about like 500,000, which is really no money. I know to people broke, that's a lot of money. $500,000 ain't a lot of money. $1 million is not a lot. But let's look at that. Within 6 months, he was gone. Why? Because they didn't have money. They didn't have the management. They didn't have the willpower. They didn't have the goal in mind, like Chief mentioned. What is your vision? What do you see it with? I like how Dave Chappelle did the skit. If black people right now they gave reparations to all the black people, they're gonna go out and buy FUBU, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and Escalade Cadillac. So guess who's gonna get really rich? Cadillac, FUBU, and Kentucky Fried Chicken, and Popeyes. Because why? That's where our focus is at. We equate money to things versus what are you using it for, and what are you managing it for? Like we learned I knew. What is your legacy? What are you building?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to utilize that to build? Like example, black people right now, and we talk about this in I knew, land. Mm-hmm. It's funny that poor black people, when they get money, the first thing they don't talk about? They don't talk about owning some land.
Mm-hmm.
But what we talk about it in our new. Okay. So now first you got to envision I own the land and I'm building on it and I'm passing it down. We don't talk like that because we don't have the vision. And also what was put in the chat also is about culture. If you don't have a culture and that culture is not, you're not cultivating or you're not learning what that, you only vibrate or you only, if you're in a bastardized culture, you only are going to vision what that culture is creating and it already put in your mind. Just like when people win the lottery, they are the corporations or the establishment already knows they're going to give that money right back because they're not going to invest.
Because the money in itself, like you're saying, is some currency. It's a means to an end.
Exactly.
Right? And if they see that if the end that they're looking for is just pleasure or feeling, then the money is going to go right back to where it was. If the end is like sovereignty, like I don't know. I haven't heard too many stories. I guess they try to keep it quiet. Like they don't want their business out. But I've heard one or two stories where people won the lotto and actually used the money wisely. There was one couple who said they won the lotto, and the first half of it they blew. And after they got halfway through the money, it's like, wait, this money is going a little too fast. So they hired a financial advisor, and the financial advisor helped them to make smarter investments. And they were able to make a come up. Right. But they were smart enough to seek wisdom as opposed to just doing what they felt like doing. You know what I mean? But again, it's a means to an end. But a lot of people look at money as an end in itself. Like I just want to have it. Just want to look at my bank account and see a lot of zeros. As opposed to like all of the people who you had named earlier, like Bill Gates and
Elon Musk.
Right. They were looking for funding for projects. They weren't like looking for money just to have, especially Elon Musk. I'm trying to go to Mars. You know what I mean? So he made a certain amount of money, but he had to try buy some rockets cheap from Russia. You know what I mean? And the sale didn't go through properly the way he thought he would. So he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna use what I have and I'm gonna build them. But he had a vision in mind. It wasn't about having the money. It was about using the money to get what he actually needed.
Exactly.
And that's where I think that's where the victory can evade some people as well, because it's a victory like the quote from The Art of War: to foresee a victory that the ordinary man can foresee is not the acme of skill. The ordinary person, they want money. You know what I mean? So if you're just thinking about money, then okay, cool, you got your money. But then what? You're gonna hold it, you're gonna spend it, you're gonna invest it, you're gonna save it. It's only certain things that you should do with money that are wise. But what are you gonna do based on, like you were saying earlier, that bastardized culture and what that culture tells you that you should do as soon as you get money? Who's like you got Brother Zach and Chief in your ear? Who's in their ear? Who's telling them? New Burberry coming up. The Gucci bag. Gucci slippers. You need some Gucci slippers. You don't need no slides. You need some Gucci slippers. Damn, they only cost like $10 at Walmart. You don't need them. You need some money on your feet.
Right, and
that's how it goes.
Right, and that's where, again, going by culture, because we have a community, and so we know what to invest our money in, and we also know in our new that if it caught, in other words, we have to use wisdom and being wise about it, but also we have counsel. So again, it's about, once you understand. And like the question was asked about money. One, again, are you focused on the physical aspect of it, or what are you going to do with this? What are you willing? I always use the example about people. If you ask people if they bought a Maybach, it's an expensive car. So if you ask 10 people, Yeah, and you ask them what you want a Maybach. Some of them don't even know what a Maybach is, but they'll take it anyway. Okay, are you willing to?
Mhm.
Are you willing to? Okay, with that Maybach, I think it's about. Oh, I know it's over $100,000. Let's say it's 300 some. Let's say it's $300,000. Okay, well a Maybach is not a regular car where you can go get a maintenance. The maintenance alone may be maybe $5,000. We didn't get to the oil change, the tires, maintenance. Can you afford it? So now you went and asked for something. Can you handle what you asked for? That's going back to the money. Can you really handle that? Are you willing to utilize the wisdom? Like you said, we don't hear a lot of stories about those who did they use the money successfully. Most times you don't hear it. And there are times where most of us have, even if you do, let's say you want $100,000. Can you invest? You can invest. But again, if you don't have the wisdom, if you're not surrounded by wise, righteous people that are around you, surrounding you, you can easily lose everything instantly. And that goes back to how we're like us in our new, we're command. It's like I think of Chief when he did the command of day. Command the day. Going back to victory. I command my day. How do I plan it out? How do I visualize my day?
Right.
I remember that when Chief, remember he did those segments?
Right.
Okay, that also pertains to the victory.
Mm-hmm.
So now, if I have a plan. So when I plan it out, I started out early. Emanaya is up. At one time, I think it was a couple times, she wasn't up early. And she was like, okay, Naya, what's up? You slipped? What happened?
But
it wasn't. It was condemning her. It was just that she was so used to doing it. But I don't know what happened. But my point is, now you're at this momentum.
At one point, though, it was also I gotta make this point. It was also one point where he was like, because she was like apologizing. He's like, "What are you apologizing for?" The real question is, why didn't anyone else do it?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I remember that.
Yeah, and that's where you have that being on one accord again.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot to do with empathy,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you have to really be in tune with what it is that's going on internally to really sense what's going on with someone else. If you're so wrapped up and so self-absorbed that you can't even feel what's going on with someone who's next to you, who might be hurting, and just putting on a brave face, then can you really call them your brother or your sister or your comrade?
Right.
I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine. He was telling me he had a situation go down where money didn't flow in the way that he expected to, based on it was sort of like a miscommunication at work.
Okay.
And because of that, a lot of his other plans and finances, they took like a hit. Like he is alright, but it was just like he was already working overtime, and so he was a little tired, So that hit him a little harder in the chest, and he was getting on the bus, and the bus driver recognized him, and he was like on the phone, and he's like, he was talking to someone. He's like, "Yeah, right now I just need to go to sleep," and he was like, "You sound they stressing you up?" And he was like, "Yeah, Bob, but I'll be good." But he was like, there was empathy there because I always see this dude, and he always like he's a high energy, animated brother.
Right.
I mean? He's like he's animated enough for both of us because I don't have that level of energy. But he's always up. He always hatching a scheme. He's like Rick from Rick and Morty. I don't know if you understand that reference.
I know about it. I haven't watched it.
Like a mad scientist. You know what I mean?
Right.
So for the bus driver who always sees him excited on the phone, excited talking about something, for him to see him that day, he's like, "You alright?" And they don't have like a one-on-one relationship. It's just I
Right.
see you often enough to know that something's off with your energy.
Right.
You know, something as simple as that. You know, so if you're next to someone and you say that they're your comrade and you're building something with them, and you can't really get on a level with them, then you know that lets you know there's something else that needs to be addressed. When it comes to how you envision your victory, you know, and who it is that you're moving with,
Mm-hmm.
and how they envision the victory as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that was a good question for the Zach in terms of
Yeah.
um, why victory seems to evade a lot of people. And
Mm-hmm.
Chief also responded. He said, Akizak, I would say earthly victory means spiritual death, and spiritual victory means earthly death. This is the root of the evasion. It's fear.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Brother Zach said, as in one of your lectures, when you said one is supposed to kill themselves out of one reality, only to rebirth themselves into a new.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
Oh,
and that,
mention retreats and everybody's going crazy now.
oh, okay. But that goes back to what we're saying about victory, and that is I don't you know, abundance is assured. Money is assured if you, again, where is your head at? If I put you know, I keep thinking about how Chief breaks it down. Is like you got to put Yah first.
Mm-hmm.
That's the core. And this is going to add to the question that Akizak put in the chat. They, you know, it's funny how people run around, they're so religious and they'll talk about Christ, they'll talk about God, and I'm like, but you're not acting. I don't believe you.
Mm-hmm.
Show me. People are, it's like Chief, they're spiritually dead. There is no life in them. I've been up since 3 o'clock this morning. I ain't tired because you know why? I was preparing the whole week. Now I'm not sad. I was a little bit disappointed because I didn't really want to. I didn't get to do a lot of things or so. But I think about how Chief does, and he did a sec. As I was listening to Chief's segment, he was like, he'll play some music, and he said, you know, he apologizes. I apologize for the. He did it in. He did it in the planning victory, and it's like that. He said, I apologize for the music being a little long, because he's like, I'm mentally prepared. I'm preparing myself. I'm preparing because he's preparing for this segment. And so that's why it flows for Chief when he does this. So now when we do that, and it's funny, I think about Aki Zach when he makes it easy. Aki Zach, you do, I watch you. I'm like, Master Man, like same thing. You like, y'all make it easy. But at the same time, my point is, I'm excited, and this is going back to what we're saying about the victory, and because we're working as a team, but also I'm excited because this is what I think of Akizak again, and he's in my ear, like it's either in you, or not in you, and so the excitement is we're here to support one another. Going back to Akizak's question, if I assist someone else and not just, it's not about the material, because that's another thing. Going back to the question, people focus too much on the material, they're not focusing enough on the spiritual. If you, like Chief mentioned in the chat, if you put the spiritual aspect and you apply that wisdom, that knowledge, that understanding, if you apply that, this is where the abundance, the victory, this is where the everything comes to order. And you don't stop there. Now, what am I doing to help my brother, my sister, and their abundance? Okay. So now, because I'm not thinking about myself, I'm like, come on, let's do it. Because again, my mindset is not about me. Chief's not doing this because it's about him. He, like, again, going back to the plan. Do y'all really think that he put that book for him to read and understand? The 14 keys, the honey way? Oh, Chief just had nothing else better to do, and he just put the book together because he wanted to glorify his mind. No. It's for each and every one of us, and we are the examples and the products of what Chief has put out. And we're still building. Again, going back to when Chief did segments about creation. We're creating. Victory is about creating. So we're at war. we have a purpose, we have a mindset, we know we're going to win because regardless of what the odds are, but we're also creating that victory. So then when you're creating it and you're extracting it, because I think of Safta Ahava said, we boldly, like Chiefs mentioned, we boldly go through this, we take this journey boldly. And so now you're gonna receive that which you asked for. How many times we've accomplished something and we, like you said earlier, we didn't know we can do it, but we did it. Because why? We have support.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have the support. We don't we don't sit in our new and what is it? We it's not this no. If you stagnant, people outside of Anu, you stagnant, you ain't gonna last, because movement is always movement. It's always move.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the animation, like, I may be a little animated, and it's funny because Chief mentioned that in the chat. Some of us are I know I'm very animated, but this is my excitement about the work and applying the work and living it. Aki Zach said something at the retreat, because he's like, well, how do you know? I'm paraphrasing. I'm not saying it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know you're divine? I think it was something like that. I'm like, damn it, there he goes again. But again, it's a good point. How do you know you're divine? How can you measure that? How do you know you're victorious? I'm
Right.
waiting. So before you put it in the chat, Aki Zach, how do you know you're victorious? I already know he's gonna say that because I can hear him. So I was like, okay, so how do you know? You know you're victorious because the end result, it's showing you. It's you can't doubt it. What do I mean by that?
You see the result.
Yeah, the result. Thank you.
See the result.
It's the result. The results are coming out of that. Sometimes you're like, dang, did I do that? Like you said earlier, like when Chief, like, okay, when he asked you to do something, like, okay, so you ponder it. Okay, I think I can do it. Okay, you lay it, play, and you hit it a little bit. Okay, I got it. And then boom, that's it.
Mm-hmm. And it's never as difficult as you originally think it is.
Huh?
It's never as difficult as you originally think.
Exactly.
It never goes where you think it's gonna go.
Right.
But it's never as hard as you think it is. And that's a part of the learning, because you get to strip that ego, the fear of the fear of assuming that it's gonna be difficult, and two, the arrogance of assuming it's gonna happen.
Right.
And that assumption that it's gonna happen actually feeds into the fear.
Right.
Because it's like someone says, okay, today we're gonna learn to ride a motorcycle. No, I'm gonna fall. No, I'm gonna fall. No, I'm gonna fall. I'm gonna fall. I'm gonna hit my head. I need to wear my helmet. Wear these gears. Yeah, you walking out. You got a bunch of phone books strapped around you. You got all these big elbow pads. You just come out there prepared to fall. You didn't even come out there to ride anymore. You just came out there prepared to fall. Because you keep thinking about how inevitable this fall is.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I'm reading these
everything in the chats. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned about the motorcycles. I think those MVRs. Well, I forgot what they called when we were at the
ATV.
ATVs. Yeah, I'm saying it wrong.
The MTVs.
Right. when a Colty Yamina fell off, that scared me. I'm like, oh, and again, everybody's Ross Kush was riding, everybody was moving, and then
right.
And we ain't gonna get to when I'm like, whoa, what? But the point is, I know one day I'm gonna have to ride it. I get
it.
It just startled me.
Right.
But you saw, what I saw.
The young brother
with Nehemiah,
right.
I definitely
fell off, and he was like, "I'm all right."
But he blew it up.
He blew it off.
I'm like,
and that's an example of thinking it's gonna be difficult, but realizing it wasn't. He didn't plan on falling, but it wasn't as bad as he thought it was. He was able to get up,
Exactly.
shake it off, and he had fun. You know, he
Right.
wasn't scarred or traumatized. Like he liked it. You
Right.
know what I mean? And he had because he had an opportunity and a community around him that provided a space for him to be able to do that. He
Right.
discovered a different aspect of himself that
Right.
he may not have even realized he had a hunger for.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
so it's cool, man, when you're around community and everybody. From what I can see, from where we left off, everybody's making jokes
Everybody
about
making jokes about us. It's
the
okay.
the upcoming retreat. South Orleans. South Harbor says New Orleans. I think Brother Zach was mentioning the money segment. Chief is saying I'm gonna plaster pictures of all y'all on Birdbar Street. Don't sell liquor to these individuals. Akizak said I checked out of the game when it came time to light the fire.
Wait, what happened? I'm reading.
I think he's talking about the game, yo.
Oh, the oil. Oh
that's
yeah.
what
Oh yeah. I remember that
the
part.
oil.
He got.
What-
Oh
what-
yeah.
I
Yeah.
wasn't
I
there. I
learned
don't
something
know
about
nothing
how to
about
light a
no oil.
fire. I mean, Akizak was like, you know what, Mo, because you know what, because Chief again, how to keep a fire going. Good oil, cooking oil,
Cooking oil.
and Akizak was just having fun. Yep. That's fire. That's fire.
That's a fire.
That's fire.
Do this every time, Gus.
But it was fun.
Yeah, man.
It's
I
okay.
can't wait to see those videos. Those videos and those pictures. Agizak said he's still in the witness protection program. I don't know. That sounds like an inside joke. She said, yeah, Zach was over there deep frying branches and bark.
He almost got somebody's shoe. He almost had
See?
it was a barbecue shoe. Someone like, yeah.
So Chief showed the way with that oil. So, the oil. Come through with that Western. Okay, we was hot. Okay. Said my spirit animal is still feeling what I drank 55 years ago. Uh-oh. Oh, the chat messed up. Okay, yeah, exactly. Where can I get some of that stuff? What you was drinking? My spirit animal is still feeling what I drank 5 years ago.
Wow.
Like Isaac said, hey man, this is going too fast for me. Y'all got to slow this joint down. Almost made me spill Sapta Ali and Adam's 5-year-old drink on my way. Sister Maria says, yes, after how the past affects our body, Chief taught us to be attentive to physical scars that our body holds on to because our body can heal from old scars. We have to activate that recovery. Akira Eden says, Miss I Don't Swim needed to hear that story, Master Man. Yeah, I hope you know when people say I don't swim or I can't swim, I make it a point to make sure that they do. So if there's water at the next retreat that you and I are at, you know, we got some swimming lessons. Chief Yuya says, oh, that's you. You sent one whole love letter, huh?
I know. It's been a busy week, but I'm gonna get it, Chief. I'm gonna definitely get it. I'm gonna get it. I'm behind, you know, but I'm gonna get it. I ain't a quitter. That's one thing.
That's true what Akizaki is saying too. So many can't even see themselves as a proper mate if they don't have money, or always looking at one being of high value because of it too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Striving for money and not wealth. Chief says, yeah, Akizaki, some of these people ain't gotta sit here and argue with our flat face all day. They want their change. Fubu, food. What am I missing with this fubu? Food to the freaking boo.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. I just remember that from Dave Chappelle moment. I just, that was funny when he did that skit.
Cashing in that lotto ticket for my car, can he bump that? Going crazy with Fendi bags and gazelle glasses.
Wait a minute. For some of us, what is that? Was it crisscross the color? I forgot. Dang it, I forgot that one. I had it in my head and I messed it up.
All right, we keep it moving.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep it moving. Yeah.
I heard a lecture from the great Emmons Wilson where he spoke on civilization that existed without money, which was very interesting to me. Oh, I got one for y'all. Cross colors.
There you go. I knew it. I knew someone was gonna come through. There you go.
That's community right now. We one accord. We in sync.
Yep. Cross colors. Yep.
Yeah, a girl has got to see. All right, she looking for them glasses and shades. Reparations to Black people is it's such a wrong concept. Reparations are only given to groups linked to a national identity.
Yep.
No Black land, Black capital, Black constitution, etc. Only our law will repair us.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Now, can we plan a victory with full depending on the law? That's where they start talking about they're more spiritual than religious. Yeah, you start talking about something practical, and all of a sudden now I'm just spiritual. I'll just go in the corner and meditate. About my crystals. Over the crystals. Chief Yuya says, so now the Maybach ends up owning you. This is when you're talking about the Maybach. Mm-hmm. It's like having an ox to plow your lands, but it's so prized that you only groom and feed it. It is no longer the tool, but your idol.
Exactly.
Very true. King of examples.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I don't get tired. Kevin Gates' voice. Chief Yuya says, I take a fleet of pickups over the Maybach. Exactly. I can write those trucks off at the end of the year and can turn them into assets. Once packed with workers. The Maybach makes me a target for theft. Exactly. Right. 2023 Maybach basic trim is $395,000.
Wow.
2023 Ford S150 starts at $33,695. One Maybach equals 11 work.
Wow, crazy. And that's another thing about how people do. They'll acquire these material things so they can impress or show off to people, which doesn't make any sense. I remember a long time ago, someone had, it wasn't a Maybach, but it was, I don't know, not a Lamborghini or so. They had a spin, but they were living in their mother's basement. So you have an expensive car. It was over $150,000, but you live in your mother's basement. In the hood. You
couldn't have treated that car well, though.
Huh?
Couldn't have treated the car well.
Well, one, you don't even own the house. You're in your mama's basement.
Is what I'm saying. You don't understand value.
Exactly. That's crazy. Exactly. How are you gonna have a $150,000 vehicle, but you don't have no property? Mm-hmm. Going back to, that's crazy.
Right. That's crazy. But again, it's like, how do you measure victory? How do you measure success? Success is what other people see me have. And they'll see it until you drive home, and then the light bulbs start going off. It's like, you live here? Yeah. Like, yeah, that's where I live. It's my crib. It's my mom's crib. I live in the basement. Yeah, I'm gonna take the bus. Yeah, man. Getting caught up in trying to impress others instead of thinking practically.
Right. Exactly.
Always coming at one another. Like Nini Fuller says, if y'all are not coming together to build something, stay away from one another. I never liked MTV myself. I'm more of a BT. MTVs and DVDs. Oil games? Okay. All right. You got my attention. Okay. Sister Salvalit says, true, Master Man. Like, we imagine all of the failures and falls because of fail. We want to control the outcome to a fault so much it cripples us. If only we relinquish control. Yeah. Yeah. Say that 5 times fast. China, na na na. They will say it ain't tricking if you got it. Yeah, right. So I could spend all this money on females, but because I can afford it, then I ain't no trick.
But
Well,
even they can afford it, you're broke because you're
right.
broke here.
You think you can afford it
Right.
until you can't.
Right.
Man.
But that's the real test. Just say you win the lottery. You win the
Mhm.
lottery, but you still lost here.
Right, because you ain't got
What
no
difference?
you ain't got no plan. The black print is not in there. You know, it's on TV.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's on the street, it's on social media. That's where you're getting your ideas from. You know, that's how you measure your success. Right, but it's like shallow pursuits, like ecclesiasticity is, vanity. All is vanity.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
you push with your people, with your group, and you're on one accord. You're moving with your plan. You say, okay, these are the things that we're striving for, and once you have that down, everything else is like, okay, I can't even accept this because this doesn't build up to anything.
Right.
So that's not an option. That's not an option, and you start to build yourself up more. It's like, all right, I need to earn more. I need to involve myself with more lucrative business deals. In order to do that, I gotta get some education. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a master's or a doctorate or 4 year degree. You might just need to understand how a particular business works. Even if you work in that business for the sake of understanding how it works, and then you can make more intelligent decisions. Say, wow, they
Right.
tried to make me buy it for $70,000, and it only cost $5,000 to get this thing they were trying to get me to invest in.
Exactly. Exactly.
And Chief says an impoverished mind often has financial fetishes.
Mm-hmm.
Giving their money to people who hate them turns them on. I swear. King of examples.
And that's so true. That's how most people.
Yeah.
That's how most people react, and
That's
they're
not
proud
even.
of it. They're
It's
proud
sad
to do
because
that.
that's not an example. Like
Huh?
people do. It's not an example. People do that. That's
Exactly.
not even an analogy. Sometimes I bought stuff that was name brand by accident. It was just the only thing left. Like say I needed I think my first time going to New York, I needed a winter coat. I just bought something affordable on Amazon. I was like, this looks warm. It turned out to be Tommy. People would look at the little small little flag. It's like, oh, that's a nice jacket. This little thing,
Okay.
this is 1 centimeter by 2 centimeters
Wow.
over this whole jacket. I said, that's a nice jacket. Yeah, it looks warm, don't it? It's like, but it's Tommy.
But it goes back to that program.
Right.
Are you programmed from the world, from those demonic forces, or are you programmed from the Most High?
Mm-hmm.
And that's this again. That's where the part where people. It's funny how people gravitate to something that's unnatural,
Mm-hmm.
and look at it as victory, but it's not. It's a false illusion. That's another thing where you don't even understand that you're living this illusion that's going to lead you down a darker path.
Mm-hmm.
And not looking at, and again, the consequences. some don't even recognize even the consequence that goes with that.
Yeah, that's that Maya. You're looking at the appearances of things. You're not
Mm-hmm.
trying to dig through down to the surface.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think about when Chief did when he when he did the segment, he broke down the boule.
Mm-hmm.
Most of those individuals in it, they're very successful. They willing to give their soul materially and have allegiance to it, because why? It's from material gain, not from a spiritual. And it's interesting when like I said, when Chief broke it down, and how many people that we know that are a part of that and are proud,
Mm-hmm.
and people want to be just like them.
Also, though, he was saying, Chief was also mentioning, like, on the flip side of that, there are people who are part of it and don't even know it. But because they had no culture going into it, this is my culture now.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm doing now. This is how I move. I saw it was like a little short reel on Instagram that someone had sent me, and it was like a divorce court sort of thing, like a paternity court. And she was like, the girl was like, "Oh, we met at a fraternity party, because he's in a fraternity." And he asked him, like, he cut her off. The judge cut her off. He was like, "What fraternity?" And he said, one fraternity. Let's, for example, let's say he said Alpha Kappa Alpha. The judge put up like his signal, like he put up his hand, like whatever the goofy signal, hand signal they be doing,
Uh-huh.
and do it put it up too. And it's like the caption is like, yeah, she didn't win that one. She lost that one.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So you gotta look at it like, and people would be like, people are still brainwashed into thinking there's good guys and bad guys,
Mm-hmm.
but everyone moves according to their best interests, and it's a matter of what your culture is and the level of righteousness that your culture pushes you towards. And as long as you're moving along with your culture's standards and your culture's principles, then you're able to step back and be like, okay, they do something different, they do something different, they do something different. This
Right.
is not what I do,
Right.
and you can say that like, hey, this ain't what I do. This is not where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going down there. It's like you're on a highway. You see an exit, sure, but I'm not going that way. Just because you get to turn off on that exit, or just because you have to turn off on that exit, it doesn't give you permission to blow your horn at me because I'm
Right.
blocking your way to that exit. I'm in my lane.
Mm-hmm.
You messed up. You didn't know where you were going. You just realized you got to cut across 6 or 7 lanes to get to your exit. Don't blame me.
Right.
You got to
Exactly.
fall back. What I mean? Fall back, because I'm not gonna get off of my course just so you could change lanes, and that might still be a wrong turn. I can't come off of my course for that.
Mm-hmm.
But people, in today's society, people will scorn you for not moving the way that they move, or even buying into their illusion and saying you have to address me as this, you have to address me as that, or you can't say this, you can't say that, or this is offensive. Everything is so censored now, and I keep seeing that, like, Chief broke down 1984, and it keeps playing over and over in my head. Like, everything is coming to pass,
Mm-hmm.
just like in the book. You know what I mean? You have people censoring your speech. You have screens inside of people's houses that are now bi-directional. It used to be you're looking at this TV screen and they could tell what you do based on what you watch. Now they can tell who you are because of what you're clicking on. They have your IP address. They, as in the American government or any world government,
Right.
who's tapping into this information. And is information rivals gold at this point in terms of what people are selling. People can sell your information all day, to different companies, and you're wondering why you're getting all of these different ads or funny emails from these random email addresses, or people are calling you and you don't know what the number is. They're trying to sell you something.
Right.
Because of something that you signed up for, or something that you like you just wanted to look something up, and they keep telling you like you have to accept these cookies in order for you to look this up. Elders get stuck in that a lot because elders are like, just move the thing. Did I just click the cookie? Did I click the cookie? And I got to dip it in milk. And they sign it off. And now people are just bombarding you with questions or requests or sales pitches, and you're trying to figure out how do I turn it off.
Right.
But you don't even know how you turned it on.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know which website you went to that tried to sell you that easy bake oven, or that Maybach. Yeah, we heard you were talking about a fleet of trucks. Here's a site for used trucks.
Right.
So that's going to show up on your feed.
Right.
But,
and that's why for most people, the question they have to ask themselves is, where are you going to be? As we said here and we broke down the Blackprint for victory. Where are you going to be? We know that to be victorious, we're at war. What side are you going to be on? Are you going to be with that 85% of this population, which most people will be, that will be the deaf, dumb, and blind, will continue to go down a path of destruction where they won't have no victory, they don't have any solutions, and it's a continual path down that dark moment of abyss? Or you have the courage to change directions. I like it how you have these signs: go left, stop, bridge crossing, railroad crossing. Either you change directions and take a path that the path you were on was not going to work, or you're going to be like the 85%ers that are going to not have any victory, and you're going to continue to blame society, you're going to continue to blame everybody else, and instead of looking at, as Michael Jackson did the song, The Man in the Mirror, are you going to change? Mm-hmm. Are you willing to have the courage to change? And if you are, who is your company? Who you hang with your company? So we was talking about community. Mm-hmm. We were talking about culture. You are your company you keep. Mm-hmm. Are you around? If you're around broke, I remember, if you're around broke people, you're not going to become rich. Mm-hmm. Being around broke people, the same mindset. Or are you going to be around the people that are victorious, the people that already won the battle? Already are, yeah, we're in war, but we're winning. And it's not, and we're undefeated. There's no competition. There's none. Because why? We're in a league by ourselves. We have, the point is, what choice are you going to make? What choice? All of us has a choice to make. And of course, myself, Master Melech, Akoti Yafe, Akoti Yakira Eden, Ras Kush, Chief, everyone. We've already made that choice. We already know who our conductor is. We already know he got a battle plan. And he's undefeated. Because why? He's on the side of Yah. That's the key. Because if you don't have the Most High, as your core in the center of your battle plan, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. You're not going to be victorious. That is the only way how we were able to conquer and deal with the world, deal with the pressure. Actually, we don't have pressure. We have pressure within of mastering for ourselves. But when it comes to the outside world, that's not the problem, because we had to let it go. Mm-hmm. Then we also had to trust, and we had to submit. So this is part of that. This is part of the formula of the victory.
Mm-hmm. That internal pressure is much stronger than the external. Yeah, man.
Bring what Aki Zach said. Bring, okay, what did he say? He said, "Bring them to the." I didn't say bring to the altar.
Yeah.
You know what? I have felt like bringing some people. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna sacrifice you for it. Yeah, I have felt like that. But you know what, Aki Zach, we can't. They're foul. Their blood is foul. They ain't gonna be no use for us. We can't use them. We gotta have some divine blood. We gotta have some righteous blood. That's too foul. We can bring a chicken. Chicken's more, as Chief would say, chicken's more. That chicken's more valuable to the Most High than some of us, because we're so foul in our actions and our attitude. So, but I have thought about yeah, but it ain't gonna work.
Right. Yeah, man. Let's power through the rest of these comments. Okay. I think we were doing pretty good though.
Yeah.
We caught up. Financial fetish, we did that. Yeah, that was true. Victory and becoming a consumer. Right. That's standard of victory. This is what I bought. Well, this is what I bought. I did see one post. I was actually I felt kind of bad for laughing at the dude because of the look on his face. The dude, he had like this green sweater on, and it was shaggy. And the guy behind the camera, he's like, well, where you get that from? He's like, what you talking about? This cost $700. It's like, he called the dude lame. He said, it cost $700. He's like, you need $700. You need to get a lawnmower for that joint. That's
right.
And he had this look on his face, like he had to rethink his decision. He's like, but he was proud because he spent a lot of money for it, not because of how it looked, or like Chief was saying, with this comment, it's like people was paid thousands of dollars for that little tag. It's a small tag, couple of centimeters. Like, I didn't even know it was there. Someone had to tell me what the brand was, because I was like, all right, this will keep me warm. Because first time in such a cold place, I'm worried about, will this work? And walking around, it's like, all right, cool, I'm comfortable. Someone had to point out the tag. You know what I mean?
I know the victory for you was getting back home where it's warm, because you got to experience your first snow.
That was the first time. That was kind of a defeat.
Okay. Okay.
I went there to experience snow. All I got was a light drizzle of rain, and then like 2 or 3 days after I left New York, they had a snowstorm.
Wow.
And I said, wow. Well, this time I experienced my first snow and got caught in a snowstorm. I was like, man, careful what you wish for, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the people paying thousands of dollars for that little tag with no concern about quality or durability. Another idol of wood and stone and metal. It's funny how that still shows and wears ugly head through time. May not know the name, but the game remains the same. Sister Yafi says, it begs the question, can one discern victory if you don't even know who or what you are serving? You can't discern victory because you're part of that 85%. You're definitely blind to the truth. You know, you gotta acknowledge yourself. If you don't acknowledge yourself, you won't know what you're serving.
Right.
If you don't know what you're serving, you don't acknowledge yourself. Brother Zach said, I would say yes, which is why so many pursue financial success so they can be victorious in that culture. Selling that birthright for a sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, fork in the road, right? Yeah, made that decision. I can't possibly be the problem. It has to be the world. What went left? What we talking about?
What went left?
Oh, you must have been talking about the altar.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, speaking of an altar call, but we can. Oh man.
Yeah, they do that a lot.
In my best Aki Isaiah voice. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh man. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Abu Haru?
No, we I believe we pretty much covered everything, and get everyone to understand, hey, like Aki Zach will say, what's gonna make you victorious then?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it. Got a choice. Not that hard. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Grow.
Yeah. Grow.
My neck too long for that dick. Break something. Anyway, give thanks to everyone, coming through and participating in the chat and riding out with us. This was I enjoyed. I ain't never said that. This is a good build. Definitely definitely a different energy. Appreciate having you here, Abu Haru. Going for the ride, seeing how these build sessions unfold. So definitely give thanks for that.
It's my pleasure to serve, my brother. That's what I'm here to serve. That's part of being victorious, to serve.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Give thanks to everybody coming through, and give thanks for linking us up. Chief always know how to move the pieces around the chessboard. Yeah, man. Yeah, man, for sure. Give thanks, everyone. Peace out.
Give thanks.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Peace and blessings.